Hey guys, it's Naya from NWC Counseling, and welcome to our Thursday chats. So as you guys know, if this is your first time watching, we usually hop on and we talk about things that are all mental health related, emotional wellness, taking care of ourselves, taking care of the people that we love. And I am a mental health counselor, and so I am just providing the information that I would usually tell my clients. We basically hop on to talk about these things in detail and provide you guys some bite-sized insights for your week. This month, well actually it's the end of this month, but I meant to start this earlier this month, but whatever, we are actually talking about self-love. So February, people usually think of things like, oh, February, it's about Valentine's Day. It's about giving love to my partner or my invisible partner or my fake boyfriend that doesn't know he's my boyfriend yet because I stalk him on Instagram. This month, we're just focusing on ourselves. So we're talking all about what is self-love. For our first week, we're going to first figure out what is self-love and identify that. So when I work with clients, I tell them that self-love is essentially how you feel about yourself. So do you treat yourself like one of your kids? I use this example a lot because people tend to treat their kids a lot better as far as uplifting them, encouraging them, being gentle with them, being thoughtful with them, considering them more than themselves. Another way I get people to gauge how they feel about themselves is, do you treat yourself like a bad friend? Do you basically don't appreciate yourself? You don't check in with yourself to figure out what's going on inside or what you need or listen to your body, or you're just hurtful to yourself, like you say hurtful things or maybe you engage in hurtful behaviors. For a majority of people, there's a lot of signs of negative self-love. You might be asking yourself, what are some of the signs of negative self-love? Love, not lug. Lug, that's weird. Some of the signs of negative self-love are going to include deprecating self-humor. So people know this as, you're all in a group, you're laughing, having fun, and you drop some kind of bomb, like you're talking and you're like, oh yeah, because I'm a complete idiot that can't keep a relationship. That kind of behavior where we're constantly making these really mean jokes about ourselves, where even to a point where people laugh, but it's still kind of awkward. Another one is comparing yourself to others. That's a big sign of negative self-love because you're constantly trying to run someone else's race rather than focusing on your own. The next one is just a lack of acceptance or suffering. So I talk to my clients a lot about suffering because as human beings, we tend to suffer a lot. We tend to basically want our circumstances to be different or want our family to be different or want things around us to be different. And because we are unwilling to accept some things, we suffer. And sometimes that could be accepting us for who we are, what our limitations are, and what our actual goals or plans are. Ignoring yourself. So one of the last things we're going to talk about as far as a sign of negative self-love is not listening to what your body needs. You are hungry. You have been hungry all day. You don't know what hunger is because at this point you've been not having lunch for 3 years. So your body is like saying it's hungry and you don't even listen to it, or you think I'm not hungry, or you say to yourself, I don't need to eat. I'm a robot. I just go through my day without eating. And we laugh about this, right? But it's really true. A lot of people that I meet that are dealing with depression and mental health counseling sessions, a lot of times they're not sleeping, they're not eating, they're not taking care of their body, they're not listening to their body for what it needs. So therefore, when you're ignoring yourself, it's a pretty bad sign of negative self-love. This series, and we're gonna break it down throughout the next couple of weeks, what we are gonna talk about is how you can change your automatic thoughts. So we talked about those self-deprecating thoughts that we have. Those sometimes they're automatic. We don't even intend to make that joke about ourselves. We don't intend to not accept that compliment. It just kind of comes out like verbal vomit. But we're going to talk about how to focus our own race, how to keep our eyes focused on what we're doing and not what everybody else is doing. The last thing we're going to talk about is our self-acceptance and just some practical ways to give yourself self-care. So I'm a big component of self-care. I'm a therapist. I have to be. I literally take on people's problems for a living. So I want to help you guys with some practical tips that will help you to be able to find ways to incorporate self-care without spending a ton of money, without going out of your way and spending a lot of time and energy on these things, but little small ways that you can begin caring about yourself and treating yourself like a good friend and being nice to yourself. Practical thing I want you to get started with, because I'm all about, if you've been to any of my trainings in person or if you've ever listened to anything that I say, period, counselor, I always give people something that they can walk away with today and go practice out in the real world, okay? So your practical tool is I want you to catch how many times you say something hurtful to yourself throughout this next week. So you might be driving in your car and thinking about something and be like, oh God, I can't believe I forgot that. I'm so stupid. Bing. That is a hurtful thing to say to yourself. Or you might be getting to work and be like, oh God, I should have done X, Y, and Z in the third. Bing! That is a sign that you're talking mean to yourself, because anytime you should yourself, it's a shaming word. Should is a shaming word. I preach that all the time. Also, if you notice you're saying really limiting words like, I only do this, or I can never do that, chances are, bing, you got it. You're being mean to yourself. And so I want you just to check how often you can catch yourself being mean to yourself. Because a lot of times when I'm working with clients, they don't even realize they're being mean to themselves. That helps people to be a little bit more mindful about what's happening. And it also helps them to catch some of the habits and behaviors that they do so they can ultimately make a change. So I want you guys to think about that for the next week. And then when we meet again, we'll talk more about what are some things we can do to start identifying and changing those automatic thoughts. All right, guys, so I'll see you guys next week. Have a good week. Bye.